In the vast reaches of the galactic community, most intelligent species had learned to work together. They had fancy councils, trade agreements, and even a shared language. But they also had bullies, powerful civilizations that conquered weaker planets for resources and slaves. Tay wasn't like most aliens in the galactic conquered. While others focused on diplomacy or trade, Tay studied how different species lived. Fresh out of the academy with bright eyes and a curious mind, Tay received an assignment that senior researchers had avoided for years. Earth? That backwater? Tay's supervisor had laughed, sliding over a data pad. Nobody wants this assignment. Why not? Tay asked, scrolling through basic information about the blue-green planet. It's an anomaly we can't explain. By all logic, that planet should have been conquered decades ago. No shield technology, primitive weapons, divided governments. Yet no one touches it. This puzzle intrigued Tay. The galaxy had rules. Weak planets got conquered. That's just how things worked. So why was Earth different? 3 lunar cycles later, Tay sat in a hidden observation post on Earth's moon, watching the planet through powerful telescopes. The first thing Tay noticed was how humans never stopped fighting. Not alien invaders, but each other. They had thousands of languages, hundreds of countries, and countless reasons to argue. They're constantly at war, Tay recorded in a daily log, yet they've never destroyed themselves. They fight, recover, then fight about something else. What truly confused Tay was human entertainment. While most species created art about peace and harmony, humans seemed obsessed with conflict. They made thousands of movies about invasions, disasters, and war. Their video games simulated combat in incredible detail. Even small human children played at fighting imaginary enemies. It's like they're constantly preparing for a threat that doesn't exist, Tay noted. One afternoon, as Tay watched a human military exercise in a place called South Korea, the observation post's alarm blared. Something big had entered the solar system. Tay rushed to the scanner. A chill ran down all 3 of Tay's spines. The Kang Dominion, one of the galaxy's most feared conquering forces, had arrived with their advanced scout ship. The Kang were notorious. They followed a simple pattern. Send one ship to demand surrender, demonstrate power by destroying something minor, then accept the usual begging for mercy. No species had successfully resisted them in over 200 years. This is it, Tay whispered. This is what happens to Earth. From the observation post, Tay watched as the massive Kang battlecruiser moved into Earth orbit. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. Dark metal with glowing blue patterns, larger than any human-built structure in space. The Kang broadcast their message simultaneously to all Earth communication systems. Tay had heard these speeches before. Standard threats, demands for resources, promises of merciful treatment if they surrendered quickly. What happened next shocked Tay completely. The humans didn't panic. Oh, there was confusion at first. Some fear, certainly. But within hours, something unexpected happened. Countries that had been arguing just yesterday suddenly began talking. Military leaders shared information. Scientists collaborated across borders. They're adapting, Tay recorded frantically. Not just emotionally, but strategically. When the Kang commander destroyed a small, uninhabited island as a demonstration of power, humans didn't cower. Instead, they studied the weapon signature, collected data, and began working. They're reverse engineering the attack pattern, Tay realized with growing amazement. That's impossible. Their technology is centuries behind the Kang. Yet the impossible was happening. Human scientists weren't starting from scratch. They had already imagined how alien weapons might work in their science fiction. They had been theorizing about space battles for generations. What seemed like silly entertainment to Tay now revealed itself as a type of preparation. 3 Earth days after the Kang arrival, they followed standard protocol and sent down ground troops to secure a major city, Tokyo. The Kang expected the usual. Terrified creatures hiding in buildings, perhaps some primitive resistance quickly crushed by superior technology. Instead, they found humans who fought like they had been expecting. aliens their entire lives. They're using tactics from their entertainment programs, Tay recorded, watching in disbelief as humans implemented strategies straight from their movies and games. They knew to target communication devices first. They understood the concept of capturing alien technology rather than just destroying it. They even seemed to anticipate Kang tactics. A particularly clever group of humans had already figured out how to disrupt Kang battle armor, using nothing but water and household electricity. As the Kang troops retreated in confusion, Tay sat back, in the observation chair, mind racing. This wasn't supposed to happen. Primitive species didn't fight back effectively against the Kang. They couldn't. Yet these humans, these strange, divided, constantly fighting humans, were doing exactly that. Tay finally understood why no one attacked Earth. It wasn't that they couldn't. It was that anyone who tried quickly discovered the truth. Humans had been preparing for this moment their entire existence, not through advanced technology, but through their unique ability to imagine, adapt, and overcome. The real war hadn't even started yet, but Tay already knew the Kang had made a terrible mistake. The massive Kang battlecruiser hung in Earth's sky like a dark cloud. For 3 days, the alien ship had been visible to anyone with a decent telescope, causing a mix of wonder and fear across the planet. News channels ran non-stop coverage, religious leaders called for prayer, and governments tried to keep people calm while secretly preparing for the worst. Humans of Earth. The message had boomed across every radio, television, and digital device simultaneously. We are the Kang Dominion. Your planet now belongs to us. Surrender your resources and accept your place as our servants, or face extinction. The voice was oddly flat and mechanical, clearly translated by some advanced technology. Most people had expected their first alien contact to be more diplomatic. From the hidden observation post on Luna, Tay watched with growing fascination. The xenoanthropologist had studied 17 different first contact scenarios throughout the galaxy. They all followed a similar pattern: shock, denial, panic, then submission. The Kang had perfected their approach over centuries, but humans were breaking the pattern. After the initial shock wore off, Earth's military powers didn't dissolve into chaos as expected. Instead, they started talking to each other, even long-time enemies. We're tracking unusual communication patterns, Tay recorded. The humans are forming a unified response. This is unprecedented for a species at their development stage. When the Kang destroyer vaporized a small uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean as a demonstration, they expected terror to spread across the planet. It was textbook intimidation tactics. Show overwhelming force, then watch as the primitive species crumbles. Instead, every scientific organization on Earth began analyzing the weapon's energy signature. Military satellites were quickly repositioned to gather data. University physics departments worked around the clock, sharing their findings openly with former competitors. It's as if they've practiced for this, Tay noted with growing amazement. In truth, they had, through countless movies, books, games, and thought experiments about alien invasions. What seemed like simple entertainment to outsiders had actually prepared humanity psychologically for this moment. On the 4th day, the Kang commander, growing impatient with Earth's lack of formal surrender, decided to follow standard conquest protocol. 1,000 elite Kang warriors transported down to Tokyo, one of Earth's largest cities. Their mission was simple: secure the area, establish a command center, and begin the subjugation process. The Kang soldiers stood 7 feet tall, covered in biomechanical armor that made them nearly invulnerable to Earth's conventional weapons. They landed in the center of the Shibuya district, expecting to see humans fleeing in terror. What they found instead was an eerily empty city center. "Something's wrong," the Kang commander growled through his translator. "Where are the primitives?" The answer came quickly and from all directions. Every manhole cover in the area exploded upward simultaneously, releasing clouds of thick smoke that clung to the Kang armor. The smoke wasn't meant to harm. It was meant to blind their sensors. From rooftops, windows, and alleyways, humans attacked not with direct gunfire but with improvised electromagnetic pulse devices cobbled together from microwave parts and radio. Equipment. The devices weren't powerful enough to completely disable the Kang armor, but they caused interference and system glitches. "They're targeting our technology," a Kang soldier reported in surprise. "How do they know to do that?" What the Kang couldn't understand was that humans had been imagining this scenario for generations. Science fiction wasn't just entertainment, it was humanity's way of rehearsing for the unknown. As the Kang troops tried to regroup, they encountered another surprise. Humans weren't fighting like a primitive species with a centralized command. They fought in small, independent groups, each with different tactics. When one approach failed, they quickly switched to another. A group of university students had modified commercial drones to spray the Kang armor with a simple mixture of water and conductive material, causing short circuits. Construction workers used heavy equipment to block streets and restrict movement. Even ordinary citizens participated, using car horns, music, and recorded animal sounds to create confusing noise patterns that interfered with Kang communications. "They're adapting faster than any species we've encountered," the Kang commander reported back to the mothership. "Request immediate reinforcements." From the lunar observation post, Tai watched in astonishment. The humans weren't winning exactly. Kang technology was still far superior, but they were causing enough problems to disrupt the standard conquest timeline. "These humans," Tai recorded, "they fight differently than other species. They don't try to match strength with strength. They look for weaknesses, use the environment, improvise with whatever they have." Within 6 hours of landing, the Kang commander made a decision that shocked Tai to the core. The elite force transported back to their ship, leaving behind several damaged armor suits and weapons. "The Kang never retreat during first contact," Tai whispered in disbelief. Never. What Tai didn't know was that the Kang commander had received disturbing reports. Humans had already captured 3 injured Kang soldiers. More worryingly, they were systematically collecting and studying pieces of Kang technology, not destroying it in fear or religious awe as most primitive species did, studying it methodically. Most concerning of all, the humans had somehow managed to intercept and begin decoding Kang communications within hours of first contact. The commander needed to regroup and reconsider their approach. As the Kang battlecruiser pulled back to a higher orbit, celebrations erupted across Earth. People cheered in streets worldwide, believing they had won. Military leaders knew better. This was just the beginning. In a secure underground facility, scientists gathered around 3 pieces of alien technology: a damaged weapon, a helmet with intact visual systems, and a communication device still receiving signals from the mothership. "It's not as advanced as it seems," said one scientist, carefully disassembling the weapon. "Different, yes, but based on principles we understand. We can work with this." On the moon, Tai updated the observation report with trembling hands. "The Kang have made a critical error. They've given humans exactly what they needed, a reason to unite and technology to reverse engineer. By retreating, they've allowed humans time to prepare. This first contact has gone spectacularly wrong, not for Earth, but for the invaders." After the Kang battlecruiser retreated to a higher orbit, Earth experienced 48 hours of cautious celebration mixed with frantic preparation. Nations that had pointed weapons at each other for decades now shared military secrets. Scientists who had competed for funding and recognition now collaborated openly. A strange sense of unity spread across the planet, not complete harmony, but a shared understanding that humanity faced something bigger than their usual squabbles. Tai, watching from the hidden observation post on Luna, couldn't make sense of what had happened. The pattern was all wrong. Primitive planets didn't successfully resist the Kang. That's not how the galaxy worked. "I need to understand," Tai muttered, fingers hovering over the control panel. Breaking protocol, Tai made a decision that could end a promising career: to leave the observation post and go to Earth itself. Using technology that could bend light around the small shuttle, Tai landed in a remote forest outside a place humans called Washington, D.C. The disguise was simple but effective. With some minor adjustments, Tai could pass as human, though slightly tall and thin. The goal was to access something called the National Archives, a storage place for human history that might explain their unusual response to invasion. According to intercepted communications, this facility contained records of human conflicts going back centuries. What Tay didn't expect was the difficulty of simply walking into such a place. Humans had security measures, identification requirements, and suspicious guards who asked too many questions. After 2 failed attempts to enter through normal channels, Tay found an unexpected solution: a touring group of foreign scholars. "Yes, I am also researcher," Tay told the group leader, mimicking their accent. "From overseas university, very interested in American military history." The group leader looked suspicious but was running late. "Fine, stay with the group. Don't wander off." Once inside, Tay slipped away and found terminals that accessed the digitized records. What started as a quick information-gathering mission turned into hours of horrified fascination. Tay had studied many species and their conflicts, but nothing like this. Humans had never stopped fighting each other, ever. Their entire recorded history was an unending series of wars, large and small. Just in the past few hundred years, they had fought 2 world wars that killed millions, developed weapons that could destroy their entire planet, and created combat tactics for every conceivable environment: deserts, oceans, mountains, cities, jungles, even the limited space warfare their technology allowed. More shocking was how they approached conflict. Most species Tay had studied fought when necessary and sought peace when possible. Humans seemed to prepare for war even during peacetime. They maintained standing armies, constantly developed new weapons, and trained endlessly for threats that didn't exist. "They've been fighting shadows," Tay whispered, scrolling through battle records. "All this time, they've been preparing to fight an enemy they hadn't met yet." A document about something called guerrilla warfare caught Tay's attention. It described how smaller, less equipped forces could effectively fight against technologically superior enemies. The tactics matched exactly what Tay had observed in Tokyo against the Kang: decentralized command, targeting communication systems, using the environment as a weapon. "They already knew how to fight us," Tay realized. "They've been practicing against themselves." Moving to another section, Tay discovered something equally disturbing: detailed records of psychological warfare. Humans had developed countless techniques to break enemy morale, gather intelligence, and manipulate opponents. They understood concepts that most species only grasped after reaching advanced technological stages. As the building prepared to close, Tay made a final discovery that explained everything. In a section dedicated to entertainment and culture, Tay found references to thousands of fictional scenarios about alien invasions. What Tay had dismissed as mere entertainment was actually a vast collection of thought experiments. Humans had been imagining alien invasions for generations, working through countless scenarios in their literature, films, and games. "They've been rehearsing," Tay whispered in shock. Their entertainment wasn't just for fun. It was preparation. One particularly popular film showed humans defeating technologically superior aliens by uploading a computer virus to their systems, exactly what some human hackers were attempting to do to Kang communications right now. Another showed them adapting alien technology for their own use, precisely what their scientists were doing with the captured Kang equipment. Slipping out of the building with the last visitors, Tay walked through the darkening city, seeing everything differently now. Those weren't just tall buildings, they were potential fortifications. The complex subway system wasn't just for transportation, it could be an underground network for resistance fighters. Even the countless construction sites could quickly provide materials for barricades and improvised weapons. The city itself was designed to be defended. Back in the hidden shuttle, Tay prepared an emergency transmission to the Galactic Concorde. It had to be sent even if it revealed Tay's unauthorized mission. "Urgent update on Earth situation," Tay began. "The Kang Dominion has severely underestimated this species. Humans are not typical primitives. They are a species that has been at war with itself for their entire history. They have developed combat techniques, psychological warfare, and adaptive strategies that match or exceed those of spacefaring civilizations." Tay hesitated, then added, "Most concerning, Every human child spends thousands of hours engaged in simulated combat through their entertainment. Their games and movies have prepared them psychologically for exactly this situation. They don't fear the unknown. They've been imagining it, planning for it, their entire lives. Before sending the message, Tay included one final observation. The Kang followed standard conquest protocol for primitive worlds, but Earth is not primitive in warfare. Their technology may be behind, but their combat thinking is advanced. They lack only the tools, and now the Kang have provided those tools by leaving technology behind. As the message transmitted toward distant conquered communication relays, Tay watched news reports showing humans worldwide building makeshift defensive systems based on their understanding of Kang technology. They weren't just adapting, they were innovating. The Kang believe they're regrouping, Tay whispered to the empty shuttle. But they don't understand what's happening. They're not facing a primitive species discovering war for the first time. They're facing a species that has done nothing but prepare for this moment their entire existence. The implications were clear. The Kang weren't retreating to prepare for victory. They were retreating toward their doom. 3 weeks after their first failed landing, the Kang returned. This time they weren't testing Earth's defenses. They came to conquer. The space around Earth filled with massive ships, their hulls gleaming with strange blue lights. 27 vessels in total, forming the largest invasion fleet the Kang had deployed in a century. From the observation post on Luna, Tay watched with growing dread. The xenoanthropologist had sent urgent messages to the Galactic Concord warning about the unusual human capacity for warfare, but no response had arrived. Now witnessing the full might of the Kang Dominion positioning around Earth, Tay feared the warning had come too late. The humans fought well against the first wave, Tay recorded. But this is different. No pre-spaceflight civilization has ever survived a full Kang invasion. On Earth, people looked up at night to see new stars moving in formation. Amateur astronomers with backyard telescopes were the first to sound the alarm. The alien ships were back, and there were many more of them. But Earth had changed in 3 weeks. The first encounter had shattered the illusion that humanity was alone in the universe. It had also given them something they desperately needed: alien technology to study. The damaged Kang weapons, communication devices, and armor had been distributed to research centers worldwide. Thousands of scientists worked non-stop to understand how they functioned. More importantly, humans had something the Kang didn't expect: a plan. When the invasion began, the Kang followed their standard protocol. First, they disabled all satellite communications, expecting to throw the primitive species into confusion and panic. Earth went dark, with television, internet, and phone services suddenly cutting out. The Kang admiral smiled, a facial expression his species had adopted from conquered worlds. The silence from the planet below suggested their electronic warfare had worked perfectly. Now they would demonstrate true power before beginning the ground invasion. Target their largest military installations, he ordered. Show them resistance is pointless. Massive energy weapons powered up on 3 Kang vessels aimed at key defense locations, but before they could fire, something unexpected happened. The darkness below was suddenly broken by thousands of pinpoints of light, flashing in precise patterns across cities, mountains, and deserts. "What are they doing?" the admiral demanded. His technology officer looked confused. "They're using light signals, primitive communication methods. Mirrors, flashlights, even burning fires, all synchronized," the admiral hissed in frustration. "They prepared backup communications. How did they know to do that?" What the Kang couldn't understand was that humans had been imagining scenarios like this for generations. In countless books, movies, and games, the first thing aliens always did was knock out communications. So humans had planned accordingly, establishing old-fashioned signaling systems that couldn't be jammed by advanced technology. The energy weapons fired, targeting military bases around the world. Explosions lit up the night as structures were vaporized. The Kang expected this demonstration of power to break human resistance. Instead, return fire came almost immediately, not from the destroyed bases, but from hidden locations in mountains, forests, and underwater installations that the Kang sensors hadn't detected. The counterattack wasn't particularly effective against Kang's shields, but it revealed something alarming. The humans had anticipated the targets and evacuated them days earlier. The Kang admiral slammed his fist down. They knew exactly where we would strike. How is this possible? The answer was simple but beyond his comprehension. Humans had been thinking like invaders for centuries. Their military leaders had simply asked themselves, what would we target first if we were attacking Earth? And prepared accordingly. Growing angry at the unexpected resistance, the Admiral deployed their biological weapon, a standard tactic against stubborn planets. Thousands of canisters were dropped into Earth's atmosphere, releasing an engineered virus that had brought dozens of species to their knees. They will beg for mercy within days, the Admiral promised. But again, humans defied expectations. Within hours of detecting the biological attack, research centers worldwide activated emergency protocols. Scientists who had been studying disease outbreaks all their lives now worked on the alien pathogen. Using equipment hastily modified with Kang technology, they identified the virus structure and recognized something crucial. It was designed to attack through respiratory systems. Simple masks became humanity's first defense while vaccines were developed. More importantly, humans had experienced global pandemics before. They had systems, however imperfect, for dealing with widespread disease. What the Kang intended as a civilization-ending plague became instead another problem to solve. Frustrated by the continued resistance, the Kang moved to psychological warfare. They intercepted and broadcast images of human children in targeted cities, threatening to focus their attacks on schools and hospitals unless Earth surrendered immediately. This finally seemed to have an effect. Communications from several major governments indicated a willingness to negotiate. The Kang Admiral smiled again, believing he had found humanity's weakness. It was a trap. When Kang landing craft approached the designated negotiation sites, they found no submissive diplomats waiting to surrender. Instead, they encountered the most ferocious fighting yet. Parents, teachers, and ordinary citizens who had never held weapons before fought with unexpected fury to protect their children. From the lunar observation post, Tay recognized what was happening. They've triggered what humans call the mama bear protocol, the protective instinct that makes them fight hardest when their young are threatened. The Kang couldn't have made a worse mistake. What followed was not a battle, but a slaughter of Kang forces. Humans who had seemed reasonably coordinated before now fought with berserker strength. Their tactics became more aggressive, their attacks more precise. They no longer tried to capture Kang technology intact. They simply eliminated every invader they could find. The Kang Admiral, watching his ground forces being decimated, made a desperate decision. Prepare the planet cracker weapon. If we cannot have this world, no one will. As the massive weapon began charging, something unexpected appeared on their sensors, small, fast-moving objects approaching from Earth, hundreds of them using a mix of human and adapted Kang technology. Impossible, the weapons officer whispered. They've built spacecraft using our own technology against us. The human ships weren't particularly sophisticated. Many were essentially modified missiles with just enough Kang technology to function in space. But they didn't need to be sophisticated. They just needed to reach their targets. 3 Kang vessels fell in the first wave, including one carrying the biological weapon production facility. 5 more were critically damaged. The remaining ships, including the Admiral's command vessel, found themselves surrounded by swarms of small, agile craft that seemed to anticipate their every defensive move. Retreat, the Admiral finally ordered, his voice hollow with disbelief. Full retreat from this system. As the remaining Kang ships prepared to jump away, the humans launched a final attack, not to destroy but to board. Using the confusion of the retreat, specially trained teams managed to capture 2 damaged Kang vessels intact, including a science ship with comprehensive technical databases. From Luna, Tai watched the Kang fleet disappear into faster-than-light travel, leaving behind their dead, their technology, and their reputation as unstoppable conquerors. The impossible has happened, Tai recorded with trembling hands. A pre-spaceflight civilization has defeated the Kang Dominion, not through superior technology, but through adaptability, preparation, and a willingness to fight that exceeds anything I've ever documented. As Earth celebrated their unlikely victory, Tay knew the galaxy would never be the same. The humans weren't just defending their world anymore. They were studying the captured ships, learning faster than light, travel, and preparing to take their unique approach to warfare beyond their solar system. The stars would never be safe again. 6 months after the Kang retreat, the skies above Earth filled with light again. This time, the approaching ships were different, elegant white vessels with sweeping curves instead of the angular, predatory shapes of the Kang fleet. The Galactic Concord had finally responded to Tay's urgent messages, sending a diplomatic delegation to this unexpected new power in the galaxy. But Earth had changed dramatically in those 6 months. Using the captured Kang ships and technology, humans had made technological leaps that should have taken centuries. They hadn't just studied the alien tech. They had improved it, adapted it, and in some cases completely reimagined how it should work. The first human-built ships using modified Kang engines were already exploring the outer planets of their solar system. They had established a permanent base on Mars and expanded their presence on Luna, discovering Tay's observation post in the process. Rather than being angry at being watched, they had invited the xenoanthropologist to join their scientists. Tay had spent the last 3 months trying to explain galactic politics to increasingly concerned human leaders. "You have to understand," Tay told them during one meeting, "your victory over the Kang isn't just unusual, it's unprecedented. No pre-spaceflight civilization has ever defeated an established galactic power. Now, as the Concord ships entered orbit, Earth was ready for them, not with weapons pointed upward, though plenty were discreetly aimed, but with a reception unlike anything the Galactic Concord had experienced before. The main Concord ship was met by a small Earth vessel that guided them to a landing site, in a place called Geneva. As the elegant alien craft touched down, humans watched from a respectful distance, both excited and cautious. 6 months ago, most people didn't believe aliens existed. Now they were welcoming the second alien species to visit Earth. The conquered delegation emerged, 7 representatives from the most powerful civilizations in the galaxy. Their appearances varied wildly, some tall and willowy, others short and dense, some with multiple limbs, others with none visible, some resembling Earth creatures, others completely beyond human reference points. Leading them was High Counselor Zell, an ancient being whose species had evolved beyond physical form millennia ago, now using a semi-transparent containment suit to interact with material beings. The counselor moved forward, expecting the usual formal greetings that had been standard across 1,000 worlds. Instead, a small girl broke from the crowd and walked directly up to the imposing alien delegation. She held a simple flower in her hand and offered it to the stunned High Counselor. "Welcome to Earth," she said simply. "We come in peace. Do you?" The Concord representatives looked at each other in confusion. This wasn't protocol. There should be military leaders, political figures, formal speeches, not a child with a flower making a pointed reference to the difference between their peaceful arrival and the Kang invasion. Tay, watching from nearby, couldn't help but smile. Even in diplomatic relations, humans found ways to be unpredictable. TD. Formal meetings that followed were equally surprising to the conquered delegation. Human representatives weren't intimidated by the advanced technology or the combined power of the Galactic Concord. They asked direct questions, challenged vague answers, and made it clear they wouldn't be joining the galactic community as junior partners. On the 3rd day, High Counselor Zell requested a private meeting with Tay. They met in a garden outside the conference center, away from both human and conquered monitoring. "Your reports were accurate but insufficient," Zell said, the translation device giving their words an artificial calm. "These humans are disturbing." Tay nodded. "I've tried to explain what makes them different. We assumed you were exaggerating for dramatic effect," Zell admitted. "Now I understand you may have understated the situation." Their technological progress since capturing the Kang vessels is beyond anything we've recorded. It's not just their technical ability, Tay explained. It's their mindset. Most species discover technology, then gradually figure out how to use it for various purposes, including eventually warfare. Humans have been imagining warfare through their entire history. They instantly see the military application of every technology they encounter. Zell's containment suit shimmered with what Tay recognized as agitation. We've reviewed their entertainment. It's shocking. Even their youngest consume stories about conflict, invasion, and war. They rehearse violence as recreation. And that's why they defeated the Kang, Tay said. They've been preparing their entire lives. The conquered must respond to this situation, Zell said firmly. We've never encountered a species like this. They could destabilize the entire galactic community. The next day, the Concord delegation presented their proposal to Earth's United Council. They offered membership in the Galactic Concord, access to advanced technology and protection from other potential invaders. In exchange, Earth would accept certain restrictions on their development and expansion. The humans listened politely, thanked them for the offer, and then counter-proposed something the Concord had never considered. We don't want to be just another member species, the human representative explained. We're offering our services as peacekeepers. The room fell silent. Peacekeepers? A species that had barely achieved spaceflight offering to police a galaxy filled with civilizations thousands of years more advanced? Your technology is still primitive compared to most Concord members, one alien representative pointed out. Technology isn't everything, the human replied with a slight smile. The Kang learned that lesson. What we offer is something the galaxy apparently lacks, the ability to think like warriors while desiring peace. We're very good at fighting, but what we actually want is to prevent fighting. Over the next several days, the human proposal became clearer. Earth would join the Galactic Concord, but in a specialized role. Human peacekeeping forces would handle conflicts and threats that other, more peaceful species couldn't or wouldn't address. In exchange, Earth would receive advanced technology and resources. They're offering to be the galaxy's soldiers, Tay explained to a concerned Concord member. And honestly, they're perfect for it. They understand conflict better than any species I've studied, yet they value peace. They just recognize that sometimes peace must be defended. On the final day of negotiations, High Counselor Zell made an announcement that shocked the galaxy. Earth was being classified as a Class X Do Not Engage civilization, a designation previously reserved only for predatory hive minds and planet-consuming entities. This is not a hostile classification, Zell explained to confused humans. It's a warning to the galaxy. Attacking Earth would be a catastrophic mistake for any civilization. Within weeks, warning beacons appeared throughout nearby star systems, broadcasting a simple message in all galactic languages. Earth is protected. Earth is a peacekeeping ally of the Galactic Concord. Hostile action against Earth will result in immediate and disproportionate response. The beacons included visual records of the Kang defeat, carefully edited to emphasize human adaptability and determination rather than their still developing technology. 1 year after the Kang invasion, the first official human peacekeeping force left Earth aboard ships of mixed human and alien design. Their mission was simple: to represent the Galactic Concord in disputes that required more than diplomacy, but less than full military intervention. They quickly gained a reputation throughout the galaxy. Unlike other species who relied on overwhelming technology or numbers, humans approached each situation with creativity and adaptability. They studied the cultures involved, learned from past conflicts, and found solutions that others missed. From the Concord headquarters, Tay, now promoted to senior cultural liaison, watched humanity's expansion into the stars with mixed feelings. Part of the xenoanthropologist worried about introducing such a naturally combative species to the wider galaxy, but another part recognized a fundamental truth. The galaxy needed humans precisely because they understood conflict so well. The final report on Earth classification is complete, Tay told the Concord Council. I've named it the species that rehearsed for war their entire history. And your recommendation? High Counselor Zell asked. Tay looked at the holographic display showing human peacekeeping ships heading to their first official assignment. The same as the warning beacons already say. Do not attack Earth. Not because humans can't be conquered, but because the price of trying is too terrible to contemplate. They aren't just defenders of their world anymore. They're defenders of peace throughout the galaxy. And surprisingly, they're very good at it. The Council voted unanimously to accept the recommendation. Throughout the galaxy, species that had once looked toward Earth as a potential conquest now viewed it with a mixture of respect and healthy fear. The planet that had seemed so vulnerable, so ripe for invasion, was finally recognized for what it truly was. Home to the most dangerous peacekeepers the galaxy had ever known, and that's why Earth is never attacked.